Hey everyone, no jingle tonight. I'm doing a little bit of a quiet voice video tonight because Mrs. Cat is sleeping and I'm sneaking to do a video on AMD and on Tesla. Why am I doing a video on AMD and Tesla? Well, my question to you guys is anyway, first of all, I just want to say that I spend a lot of time, probably too much time than I should, on this platform called X. My handle there is Canton Mal, and if you just see me on YouTube and you don't follow me on X, I think you're missing a lot of stuff that I post. I post so much more there, like every day, a lot more there than I ever could, and there's just a lot of content there that you're missing if you're not following me there. One thing what I was kind of doing was I was trying to do a poll in terms of trying to figure out which stock are the people the most freaked out about, and so far the top one is AMD. We're going to talk about AMD. Top two is Tesla. I have no idea why any of y'all are really scared about Tesla at all, but I can talk about those two stocks. I have time later on tonight. I can talk about HIMS. I can talk about Robinhood. But yeah, AMD and Tesla. So I just want to say, like, this is a pretty big achievement for me to go from like 0 to 11.9, close to 12,000 followers. Now, I had an old account that they shut down because hackers got a hold of it and they can like make they had this like embedded app that they can just like make post on there, and I asked X to like get rid of these embedded apps that I cannot revoke, and they just not been able to. So I just really haven't really been using this account here at all. I'm started from scratch and already kind of back to nursing back to like 60% health. So thank you so much for your support. Anyway, go straight to AMD chart here. Without further ado, I just want to say that first of all, despite the fact that the earnings were disappointing, and despite the fact that there are a lot of people really upset about the short price action, it's just been forming higher high and it's just been forming higher low. Do I think it's going to go all the way back down to like the 120s? No, I think it's already found the bottom there, and I think it's got a lot of support, tons of support in terms of where it's at right now. I think it's important to take into context. If you just do the Bollinger Band, you have a rising 20-month moving average. They've tested not just once but twice over in August and September. So far as holding, right? Do we have to test it a third time? No, not necessarily. I think it's actually a pretty good spot. This is a very bullish kind of tendency where it's just kind of breaking through the 20 and then back testing is from resistance here to support. This is a very bullish thing, and there's really nothing bearish looking at the higher time frame. You can also see like there's a little bit of a tweezer or a fork look to it. There are a lot of wicks underneath over here, so there's a lot of demand underneath. You also got a little bit of like a morning star look to it, where there's a big red candle followed by a little bit more like a doji candle, and followed by another big green candle. So the natural course of things is going to be bullish continuation. I wouldn't necessarily let the shakeout to really hurt you. And this is also a little bit of like an inside candle. It's not bearish engulfing here at all. So I'm not really that concerned about the price action. And also, if you are looking at the monthly Ichimoku cloud, it's still way about the Ichimoku cloud. And it's still basically just stuck in range between the Tenkan here and the Kijun here. There's really nothing really that scary about it. If anything, it's just more frustrating than anything else. Because if you zoom out to do a 3-month chart, and this is a 3-month chart of AMD. First of all, 3 months is above the Tenkan and Kijun. So so far it's still leaning bullish. But if you just look at the 3-month chart, the entire year, right? Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and we just started quarter 4 here, about a month into it. All of these candles for Q2, Q3, and Q4, they're all still inside candle of this one right here. So basically, it's just been gone way too far, way too fast from 50 all the way up to like 228. And it's just needed to cool down, forming a bull flag. All these are inside candles. So the natural next occurrence when you break out, it favors breaking to the upside when it does that. Because inside candles generally favor continuation of the primary trend. The primary trend is up, right? So overall, this is favoring for price to continue to go up. If you're also looking at the monthly chart here, I'm gonna show you a Gann chart. And the Gann chart, I think I drew this based on 180 and 2. So just look at the beautiful market symmetry here that the Gann is able to provide you, where you basically hit every single arc, and when it hits every single arc, it serves as a little bit of resistance here, as opposed to confluent with the horizontal line over here too, right? And when you break through, go to the next arc, got rejected, eventually is able to break through, back test the horizontal here, and follow these arc and angles and follow these horizontal lines almost perfectly. And where are we at right now? We broke through an arc and we're just basically tapping back tested the top part of it and back tested the bottom part of it, which is also confluent with the horizontal line over here. This back test is really telling me that I think this is very much the bottom, and we also have gone back and back test the arc here again. I think it's going up, and I think it's probably going to go to the top of the square around like 360 is where I think price is going to end up gravitating to, but it's not going to go up there in a straight line. It's going to go up, sideways here. You're going to have these like plus 10%, minus 10% moves with earnings, with a lot of these volatility. You actually need the volatility for price to go up higher, and the trend is up. What did it do? It's formed a higher high here. It's formed a higher low here. The higher low here is at a really, really important level of support, right? You're talking about an arc, you're talking about a horizontal, you're talking about the 20-month moving average that's pointing up. A lot of confluence over here, right? You're talking about finding support, even bounce from the kitchen here at the Ichimoku. So there's a lot of key support here. I think we've bottomed, and I think that it's going to go up, but before it does, it's going to just do its thing. And I think there's nothing really wrong with it. Even look at the wave trend oscillator. You can see that on the monthly chart here, you can see the wave trend oscillator is turning positive. And whenever it turns positive, usually good things happen, right? Last time it turned positive, great things happen. The time before that, great things happen. The time before that, great things happen, right? So you're about to have a little bit of a bullish cross over here, and I think right now it's just a little bit of a hiccup on a lower time frame. The lower time frame, even on the lower time frame, we are, hitting a lot of snags, if you will. So for example, it's underneath the Ichimoku cloud. It got rejected from the top of Ichimoku. Initially, I was hoping for it to hold here at the Tenkan and Kijun, these blue and red lines over here. I think it still can. And if we have 2 more trading days. If we end up closing underneath of that, that's no big deal, because sometimes you can close underneath a support for a week, but then you need confirmation. Next week could very well end up closing above of that. So I'm not really that troubled that it's closing above below these support levels, because there's just a lot of confluence of support. The bull market support band is also right around the same area in like the 150s, right? And even the Supi-ichi Tenkan is also right there. It's just a lot of support that it kind of broke through underneath there, but I think it might be a little bit more temporary. Imagine this. So imagine I'm showing you all these different confluences of support here, and it kind of broke underneath of all this, right, within just 3 days of price action. Imagine if we end up forming just a wick and ends up being back above all these different moving averages, different moving period averages. Imagine we close back up above all that. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to actually end up getting not just one wick over here, but get another wick over here, and that would be very nice trees or bottom, and it could potentially point to further bullish continuation. Now, in addition to all of this, you can also look at like the 50 EMA as well. I think we're ultimately going to end up closing above 50 EMA, which is 150.47. We still have 2 more days, and we might just be end up like a little bit wick. Even if it closed below that, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Just look back at history of AMD, and just look at how important the 50-week exponential moving average has been, right? We did break below that, but we went back above it recently. Here it served as almost a perfect support. Here it served as a little bit of false breakdown here, but it served as pretty decent support. Wick down below here a little bit, right? And then before that, what happened? Well, it turned it from resistance over here to support, right? Resistance. Initially, it was a little bit getting weaker, as a little bit as a supporter. So 50 is actually a pretty important level, and so far we are a little bit underneath of that. I think it's entirely possible for the week to actually close back about 150.47. There's still two more trading days, so I'm not really that worried about how the price action is for this. I do understand, and I'm gonna say I do understand how brutal it has been, because the price has done absolutely nothing for the entire year, right? January of 2020 in 24, the price is around 140s. Right now, price is around 140s. It has done absolutely nothing. So it's been very, very brutal for AMD holders. Is it going to keep doing nothing moving forward? No, I think it's going to pick one direction or the other. And I think whenever it does that, it's going to be pretty powerful. Which direction do I think it's going to be? I just show you on a higher time frame, and I think it's going to go up. So I understand the frustration, even the Michimoku. Like, I understand, like, initially, and this is extremely scary too, you have increased volume of buying here. You would think that you'd be out of the woods, right? But no, earnings came, gapped down, found an area of vulnerability of the daily Shimoku and just broke through underneath, right? This is extremely brutal on high volume too. Very, very brutal. I feel for the AMD bulls, but I just have to reiterate that no matter how bad things are in the short term, things still actually look pretty decent here on the long term. It just looks like it's a bull trend, and it just looks like it just kind of needed to come back and backtest what it has to. Look at this structure here. How can you be that bearish when you have a cup and you have a handle, right? You're just trying to break out the handle right now, and the process of breaking out the handle sometimes is not that straightforward. If you're looking at the weekly, I mean, it did kind of, have a trend line here. Then you did kind of have a little bit of a false breakout here. But right now it's still a handle to this big giant cup. Right now it's still a handle to this big giant cup, right? So I just cannot really be that bearish here for AMD in terms of the higher time frame. The lower time frame, extreme pain for sure. But on a higher time frame, this actually looks like one of the more bullish charts there are. If anything, I think AMD, and I said that before too, if anything, I think AMD looks like Bitcoin. And it's just trying to break above the zone that's been kind of going sideways for almost like 7 or 8 months now. It's absolutely brutal. But I am bullish on Bitcoin, so I'm bullish on AMD based on the technicals. Why are you guys scared about Tesla? Like, there's no reason to be scared about Tesla here. I mean, like, I don't know why. I'm going to pull up here. This is a monthly GAN that I drew. I'm going to get rid of the Fibonacci levels here and the volume levels here. And this GAN here was drawn. I'm going to get rid of this morning star. I'm going to talk about that maybe in a little bit. This is drawn from 360 and 10. And I'm going to zoom in here to kind of show you how beautiful this market symmetry has been just by inputting those numbers. Look at this. It started out with a 45-degree angle, broke through a couple arcs, back tested the arc, got rejected by the next arc, eventually was able to break through, back test the arc, goes to back test the 45-degree angle here again, and then broke back above, got rejected by the arc, came back, found support at the horizontal where it previously was resistance, pushed through the arc, back test the horizontal here, went to the next arc, back test horizontal again, and it's just been a hard 3-4 years to try to break above this arc here. And guess what? Last month, back in September, we closed above the arc. And in October, if we end up closing the month like the way it is, I don't want to jinx it, but if we end up closing a month the way it is, then you're talking about price being above the arc here for 2 months straight. When you have broken above a previous resistance level and turn into support, what happens? Good thing happens. Where's the next level? The line up here around 700. I mean, of course, it's not going to go up there in a straight line. You're going to have resistance here around 300. That's going to be pretty strong, right? You're going to have resistance here at the previous all-time high around 400. That's going to be pretty strong too. But it just flipped an arc that has been rejected for 3-4 years from resistance to support. And I think the next target is going to be the horizontal zone right here around 700. That's what I think. And any kind of volatility that happened in between, like, you can even go down with the arc here and all the way down for like the next few months. I don't think it's going to do that. I think it's getting ready to run, by the way, and I'll show you why. But even if it does that, I don't care. It's still going to end up gravitating up to like 700 is where my target is at, right? And that you can also kind of see the same thing here with like a Fibonacci retracement. I mean, this is a log scale, but if you do a linear scale, you can see like anywhere from like 600 to 800 would be a reasonable zone for price to land at, which is just a little bit about the 1.618 Fibonacci level. I can totally see that happening over the next, like, 2 or 3 years. I can see that. Is that a guarantee? No, it's not a guarantee, but it is at the beginning of a bull trend. You can see that what we're right here with the 20-month moving average turning from negative sloping here to positive sloping was very similar to what we have during the last cycle before it went parabolic. Do I think that we're going to end up making gains like we did from like $12 all the way to 400 where like 40x? No, I think it's going to be a lot more muted than that. I think even if it makes another 2 or 3x, is still a lot of gains to be made from here over the next couple of years, which I think is possible. Whenever you have something that had turned from resistance here to support, and whenever you have something that turned over the years from negative sloping to positive sloping, and you back tested it as support, right? A rising 20-month moving average, it can really bring price up a lot higher. This is also part of the reason why I'm not really that scared about Tesla. Let's look at the wave trend oscillator. It's already been pointing up. What happened last time when it pointed up? Well, it did end up just going up a little bit, but it was still pretty nice, got to 300. What about the time before that? Well, the time when you're really coming from the bottom like this to go up was really here. That was the beginning of this last big parabolic cycle, right? Do I think we're going to get that same thing again? I'm not sure. I mean, 40x. I'm more looking for like maybe 2, 3, or 4x somewhere around like the next 3 to 5 years. I think that would still be a pretty significant amount of gains. But yeah, I mean, it just looks on the monthly here, it looks like it's already trending up. So this is a bull trend based on a lot of different indicators that we're looking at. If you look at the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly, you have also broke back inside the cloud, and we've back tested the bottom of the cloud here multiple times, and we've passed. We've got this big giant wick, and right now we're at the top of the range. Because of momentum, we might be able to break above of it and go a lot higher if we're able to break above the Ichimoku cloud here. What is stopping it from doing that? Well, you're still waiting for the upper Bollinger Band to expand here. So actually, I would not be surprised if price continue to just kind of ride on the upper Bollinger Band on the way up. I actually think the upper Bollinger Band is going to be a magnet moving forward to push price up higher. So there, again, I'm not really seeing anything particularly scary about this. I talked about the 20-month simple moving average, right? But you can also look at a 50-month exponential moving average, and this has also been a very important moving average for Tesla. As you can see, that price tend to touch it. Sometimes you can break underneath of it, but it doesn't stay down there for that long. And then it tends to just touch it and just go higher, right? We've had plenty of touches over here, and so far we have really turned a 50-month exponential moving average from resistance here to support here as well. It just looks like we're getting ready for another big move up. Again, I'm not going to guarantee like 40x. I'm thinking a lot more muted kind of bull market, because Tesla is mature. It's going to get back to probably like trillions of dollars over time. I just don't see it just going parabolic like it did over here. It already took years of valuation gains away from all the investors that have invested after that. So yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit of a muted response, but I still think it's a very bullish stock. Weekly, what is there going on the weekly that also gets you bullish? In addition to the monthly, on the weekly you also reclaim the bull and support band. Is flipped it from resistance here clearly to support, right? You have this really beautiful morning star where there's a big red candle, doji, big green candle. This is a morning star, and I think I was trying to show the doji. Where do I have that? I swear I have that picture somewhere. Oh, I need to do this, and then I might be able to see it. This is a doji morning star pattern where you have a big red candle, a doji here, which means a candle that doesn't really have much of a body, just wicks, and you have a big candle reversing. This is a pretty bullish pattern, and we have witnessed that recently on the Tesla weekly chart, right? This is the morning star pattern that has been playing out. This is an evening star pattern that has played out, right? But regardless, we found support down here. I think we're just going a lot higher because we flipped the resistance level to support, right? Another thing that it did, it has also backtested the Ichimoku cloud here and bounced and passed, right? So I can't really be that bearish. It's also about the Tenkan Nikijin. Everything's pointing out to be a bull trend. It's not overextended. It's not overextended on the monthly. It's still within Ichimoku cloud. Tenkan Nikijin is still right there, building up energy to go up a lot higher. It's not overextended on the monthly. Bollinger Band is still well within the Bollinger Band. So there's still a lot more room for it to go up. If anything, I see this one of the stocks that is at the beginning of its bull market, if you will. And I just kind of told you what the price target that I'm thinking would be at. I'm very bullish on Tesla. I think the best story to tell is really look at the 2-week Ichimoku cloud. From 2021 to 2022, we broke through underneath. You really flipped the Ichimoku cloud here from support here to resistance. And it's been resistance for about really 3 years, right? Or I guess 2.5 years, 2 years, right? Resistance here, resistance here, resistance, 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 resistance. What's happening right now? This candle over here, we have 2 more days before it closes. This is a 2-week candle, but it will close in 2 more days on Friday. If it closes the way it does, it'll be the first time that Tesla has closed above the 2-week Ichimoku cloud, where it's been continuously getting rejected over and over again. If it's able to close that above the current number is going to be around 252.24. If we close the week above 252.24, I think Tesla is probably going to go up a lot higher from here because of the very, very strong resistance level that is being broken potentially. It's also looking like it's a bullish engulfing. It's also got a very nice tweezer bottom over here. I think it's maybe getting ready to have some bullish continuation here. I don't know. Anyway, I don't see any particular reason to get scared about either of these stocks, to be honest. I think short term is just short term, and hopefully this longer term view is giving you a little bit more perspective in terms of what I'm looking at. Also want to thank y'all to support. Now, if you want to follow me for a lot of content that I don't talk about here on YouTube, please feel free to go to X and just basically follow me there. Happy to have you. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Bye.